All right, hello, Community Bible Church. Welcome to another edition of A Verse a Day. We're in 1 John chapter 1, verse 4, and we're just going through a few minutes every single day, one verse, as the title hints at. All right, so we are going through verse 4 today, a shorter verse, and it says, we are writing these things so that our joy may be complete. All right, so once again, who's the we? I believe that it's talking about the apostles, those that actually saw Jesus die on the cross and raise up again, those that were sent out. And so it's a collective we that the apostle John is speaking about. And so it says, and we are writing these things. Now, what things is he talking about? Those things that he's talking about is what's really kind of covered in verses 1 through 3. So if you haven't watched those videos, go back and watch them here. But those really what the summary of it is, that there was a life that was from the beginning, that was with the Father, that came down and was made manifest or became tangible to us. And as you look at these verses in context, as you compare them over to the Gospel of John chapter 1, when it talks about in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and that the light came down to man, that all of that clearly points to the fact that it's talking about Jesus Christ and him coming down. And so he's saying we're writing these things, the fact that Jesus Christ came down, and then here's the purpose clause once again, so that, this is why we're doing it, so that our joy may be complete. Now, there's a few things I want to hit on in this. Number one is that word "are." I would have expected him to say, your joy may be complete. We're writing these things because you don't know it yet, and so I'm going to write these things so that you have joy, just like I've experienced joy. But he doesn't say that. He says our joy, because he knew that the other Christians' joy was also wrapped up in his joy, and his joy was wrapped up in other Christians, and it went both ways. As we talked about the fact yesterday that we have fellowship with one another because of the cross, because of the life that came down, the life of Jesus Christ. It means that our joy is wrapped up in each other. And so whenever, that's why Paul said in Romans 13, I believe, where it says that we are to rejoice with those that rejoice and weep with those that weep. Our emotions are intrinsically wrapped up to each other, because if we are one body, as he says in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, then if you can't have one body that's hurting without the rest of the body hurting, you can't have one part of the body rejoicing without the rest of the body rejoicing. And so number one, there's a collective joy there. Now, it doesn't say happiness, does it? No, it says joy. Now, happiness, as you know, is based on your happenstance, the things that happen to you. It's basically the external things that impact how you feel internally. Joy is the exact opposite of that. It is what's inside of you that bubbles out and gets to the outside. Now, some people will say, well, you can be joyful without being happy. And yes, I tentatively agree with that. But at the same time, if you're going around and moping all the time, then I don't think you're very joyful. It should bubble up out of you. And this doesn't mean you can't have a bad day. This doesn't mean that there aren't hard times and hard days, and people are going to get sick, and people are going to die, and people are going to go through loss of jobs, and those things. It would be disingenuous to not feel it and not be mournful over that. But yet, if you truly have the joy inside of you, that joy is going to overcome what was the happenstance that didn't make you happy. That joy is ultimately going to overcome that. And so that our joy may be complete. That is the idea of just filling up. If you have a cup and you fill it up to the very top, to the point where it's overflowing, that is the type of joy that we are supposed to have. And that only comes whenever we are living out the gospel message that the apostles were proclaiming, that Jesus Christ came down, that he died on the cross, that he rose again, and he rose again so that we might be able to rise again as well. And so that's what I have for you here today. I hope that you have a good weekend. And when I'm making this video, I think it's going to post on Friday. And so I encourage you, if you are in the Brooksville area, to come out to church on come out to church on Sunday morning. We're going to have Sunday school at 9:30, then our main worship service at 10:45 in person, and that will also be live streamed. So however you're watching this, just get there the same way. And then also we will have our 6 o'clock Bible study by Pastor Tom Marshall, and he will be leading the study through the Heavens Declare Bible study. If you haven't watched that, they're all on our YouTube page as well, and you can really watch that and enjoy. It's a very interesting study there. But whether I see you in person or online, I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Have a blessed weekend. I will get back to 1 John on Monday.